Hello everyone, and welcome to the Codesultant channel. We will be discussing an important aspect of electrical safety: the working space required for equipment that may require examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance while energized. Ensuring an ample working space is of utmost importance to guarantee the safety and protection of the individuals involved in these tasks. Our focus will be on understanding the minimum clear distances mandated for working spaces, which encompass the minimum height, width, and depth required for a safe working environment stipulated in Section 110.26a. Without any further delay, let us allocate enough space for this enlightening exchange of knowledge. Section 110.26a of the applicable regulations provides guidelines for the necessary working space around equipment operating at 1000 volts or less to ground. This working space is essential to facilitate the examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance of energized equipment. The specific requirements for working space can be found in Sections 110.26a1, 110.26a2, 110.26a3, and 110.26a4. NFPA 70E, the standard for electrical safety in the workplace, serves as a valuable resource for assessing the potential severity of exposure to electrical hazards. It also assists in the development of safe work practices, which include establishing an electrically safe work condition, implementing arc flash labeling, and selecting appropriate personal protective equipment. The basic rule of 110.26 calls for sufficient access and working space to be provided in all cases to permit the ready and safe operation and maintenance of electrical equipment. However, the definition of equipment in the NEC encompasses a wide range of components, including fittings, devices, appliances, luminaires, apparatus, machinery, and similar items that are utilized as a part of, or in connection with, an electrical installation. If any of this equipment requires examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance while energized, the provisions of Section 110.26 apply. Examples of such equipment include panel boards, circuit breakers, controllers, and controls on heating and air conditioning systems. It is crucial to note that the term examination encompasses tasks such as checking for the presence of voltage using a portable voltmeter. What are the requirements of the workspace for electrical equipment? According to Section 110.26a1, the minimum depth of the working space, in the direction of live parts, should adhere to the specifications provided in Table 110.26a1, unless the requirements of 110.26a1a, a1b, or a1c are met. In determining the distances, measurements are to be taken from the exposed live parts, or the enclosure or opening if the live parts are enclosed. The issue of where to begin the measurement often arises, with questions such as whether it should start from the live parts, the dead front, or the cover. The NEC clarifies that the measurement should commence from the exposed live parts unless they are enclosed. In the case of enclosed live parts, the measurement should commence from the enclosure or opening. Table 110.26a1 provides requirements for clearances from equipment to grounded or ungrounded objects and exposed live parts based on the circuit voltage to the ground. An example is illustrated that exemplifies compliance with Condition 1, where the exposed live parts are located on one side of the working space, and there are no live or grounded parts present on the other side of the working space. Alternatively, Condition 1 is also met when there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space that are effectively safeguarded by insulating materials. It is crucial to note that surfaces like concrete, brick, tile, and similar materials are considered grounded. Therefore, if the voltage of the energized equipment falls within the range of 0 to 150 volts, the minimum clearance distance from the wall should be 900 mm or 3 feet. In the case of voltages ranging from 151 to 600 volts and 601 to 1000 volts, the required depth of the working space remains the same, with a minimum of 900 mm or 3 feet. The following illustration serves as an example demonstrating compliance with Condition 2. In this scenario, exposed live parts are present on one side of the working space, while grounded parts are situated on the other side. For installations falling under Condition 2, where the voltage ranges from 0 to 150 volts, the minimum required clearance distance is 900 mm or 3 feet. In cases where the voltage falls between 151 and 600 volts, the minimum clearance distance increases to 1 meter or 3 feet and 6 inches. For voltages ranging from 601 to 1000 volts, the minimum clear distance is 1.2 meters or 4 feet. When exposed live parts are present on both sides of the working space, condition 3 is applicable. For this condition and when the voltages range from 0 to 150 volts, the minimum required clearance distance remains at 900 millimeters or 3 feet. When the voltages fall between 151 and 600 volts, the required distance increases to 1.2 meters or 4 feet. For voltages ranging from 601 to 1000 volts, the minimum required clearance distance is 1.5 meters or 5 feet. It is crucial to consider that if the access to the working space is restricted to less than 610 millimeters or 24 inches wide and 2 meters or 6.5 foot high due to one or more simultaneously opened equipment doors, it is considered as impeded access or egress. These rules now extends this requirement to all electrical equipment with doors, regardless of its size or classification as mentioned in the opening paragraph of this section. To further illustrate this requirement, let's consider another example. We have two pieces of electrical equipment rated at 460 volts, and the installation falls under condition 3. Since the voltage is 460 volts, it falls within the range of 151 to 600 volts. According to Table 110.26a1, the minimum required distance is 1.2 meters or 4 feet. However, when both equipment doors are open simultaneously, the distance between them is less than 610 millimeters or 24 inches. Consequently, this spacing does not comply with the code. As per the regulations, there must be a minimum of 610 millimeters or 24 inches of access or egress when both doors of the electrical equipment are open. Working space is not required at the back or sides of equipment where all connections and all renewable, adjustable, or serviceable parts are accessible from the front, dead front equipment, as stated in subsection 110.26a1a. In cases where it is necessary to access the non-electrical components at the rear of enclosed equipment, a minimum horizontal working space of 762 millimeters, 30 inches, must be provided. An example of these are dead front dry-type transformers, panel boards, and dead front switchboards where all the connections and renewable or adjustable parts are accessible from locations other than the back or sides. There is no working space required for the back or sides of the equipment. Certain low-voltage installations also require less working space. If all the exposed live parts operate at not greater than 30 volts RMS, 42 volts peak, or 60 volts DC, then the inspector is allowed to grant special permission for a reduced working space. The definition of special permission in the NEC is the written consent of the authority having jurisdiction, so be sure to get it in writing. The specific amount of working space for these installations is not indicated, so it is up to the installer and the AHJ to work together to determine the safe amount of working space. In the case of existing buildings where electrical equipment is being replaced, it is permissible to have condition 2 working clearance between dead front switchboards, switchgear, panel boards, or motor control centers located across the aisle from each other. This is allowed under the condition that maintenance and supervision ensure the implementation of written procedures that strictly prohibit both sides of the aisle from having open equipment simultaneously. Additionally, authorized qualified individuals will be responsible for servicing the installation. This section permits some relief for existing equipment being replaced if it is not practical to increase the existing workspace, by allowing condition 2 distances instead of condition 3. However, this only applies if there is maintenance and supervision of the building to ensure that written procedures have been adopted to 1. Prohibit equipment on both sides of the aisle from being open at the same time and 2. Ensure that only authorized qualified persons are allowed to service the installation. Thank you all for watching.